Hi, it's Elizabeth Love here and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you are a regular here. Today I have a very special video for you because for the first time I am creating a Create a Sim video. And this is actually done in collaboration with my good friend Optimistic Wonder, whose channel I will link down below, and you should definitely go follow her on all her socials. She's super talented, super amazing. So what we are basically doing in this collab, we are creating the 6 sort of main characters of the Harry Potter series. The Golden Trio plus what sometimes is referred to as like the Silver Trio. So Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, Hermione Granger, Luna Lovegood, Ginny Weasley, and Neville Longbottom. But we have a twist on how we are creating these characters, because we are both creating all 6 of them, but I am doing them as they are presented in the books, and she is creating them as they are presented in the movies. So there are some striking differences when it comes to some of these characters, so let's just chat about them, you know? Now, I started off with creating Harry because obviously it's called Harry Potter, so I started off with him, and definitely was trying to create that look of he is wearing hand-me-downs from Dudley. The problem with The Sims kind of in this way is that we don't have that many like oversized men's clothes that would just hang on a person. So then I decided to sort of go for the look of they just look worn, but they don't look too big on him, because we can't really have that look in The Sims. And that's basically the essence of the outfits that Harry is wearing. And then I am moving on to Ron now, and for his aspiration I picked Jokestar, and he's hot-headed and a goofball. I am basically trying to do these traits based off of the book stories and not off the movie stories. So like for Hermione, it's gonna be very different than how she is in the movies. And I had to come back to fix Harry's eyes because I forgot that they're supposed to be green. I don't know if it's just me, but I forget change Sim's eye color. Like even when I'm doing a reference Sim, like based on somebody, I will forget to change their eye color. Even if it's like a very important feature. I don't know why. Let me know if it's just me or if it happens to you too. But with Ron in the books, it's referenced several times that of course the Weasleys are not the richest of the visiting families. They are quite poor, with, you know, Arthur being the only working parent, with Molly staying at home and them having 8 kids. Ron gets a lot of hand-me-downs, and he also is really tall and really thin, and he grows fast. So one important thing that I wanted to capture in this Create a Sim of Ron is I wanted to make all his trousers short. Like they look like they're too short for him. So I just gave him cropped trousers, but then I made him wear low-cut boots or shoes so that it looks like he's outgrown the pants. And I think that's a pretty good idea of like how to represent characters from Harry Potter in something like The Sims. It's like the little things, you know? It's the little things such as Ron is too tall, and obviously you can't change his height because Harry is supposed to be much shorter than Ron. But you can kind of like create the illusion of him being shorter by him wearing like full-length pants while Ron wears pants that are too short for him. Now then I moved on to Hermione, and I was struggling for quite a bit with her traits. I did give her the academic aspiration, and in the end I made her a bookworm and an insider. Because this Create a Sim video is sort of like placed around the 5th, 6th book, and if you don't remember, Hermione is the person who basically created Dumbledore's army. So I thought, let's reflect that, because I wanted to give her the ambitious trait, but you can't give a teen an ambitious trait. I think it's because of like how jobs work, and they would just be unhappy because they don't have a career. And with Hermione, I don't remember any references in the books on like her body size, her curves, or anything like that. So I thought, you know, maybe I can make her a little curvier, give her a bit of a thigh, a bit of a butt, and I think it turned out really good. She looks like the Hermione I imagined in the books. And in the books, she's also described as not obviously pretty as she is in the movies. So I wanted to reflect that. I tried to give her some less traditional facial features. I gave her the gap between her teeth, even though she gets that fixed in the 4th book, I think. And now I am doing her formal wear, which took a while, but obviously I had to give her a blue dress because if you're not a book fan of Harry Potter, you won't know this, but Hermione wears a blue dress to the Yule Ball in the 4th book. But in the movie, it's pink. And for a lot of people, like myself, the pink dress is a symbol of like what is wrong with Hermione in the movies. So I definitely had to have her wear a blue dress, because in the movies, Hermione is portrayed as like this absolute perfect character. And some of like Ron's best moments in the movies, they're actually handed to Hermione. But she's not as like, she's not just a good character, she has her flaws. Obviously she's like a good person, but she's kind of hot-headed, and she is kind of mean to the guys sometimes, and she really stands up for what she believes in, but that comes with a lot of times where she is a little mean to them. And I wanted to kind of pay attention to that as well, even though I was just creating her sim, because yeah, she is very different. And I put her in more like conservative-ish outfits compared to Ginny, who I will just create now. And Ginny is probably the character who they got the worst in the movies. I don't like movie Ginny, but I love book Ginny. So I wanted to create the Ginny that I imagined when I first read the books. And she is meant to be super fierce. She is a sportswoman. She ends up being a professional Quidditch player, so she's better at Quidditch than Harry. And she is like mischievous. She looks a lot like Fred and George, according to the books. Like, they have very similar characteristics. And she is also like probably the most popular girl in Gryffindor. She is like the life of the party every time, and I actually gave her the self-assured trait, the active trait, and I gave her the bodybuilder aspiration because she does go on to be a Quidditch player, and I kind of wish we have gotten a aspiration that has to do with fitness that's not bodybuilder, that's just like a sports team member or something like that, because that's very different. But I think it goes well with Ginny, the sports career and things like that, because she is an extremely fierce character and she just doesn't care. She dates around a lot since she's like 14, and her brothers criticize her for it, or like Ron criticizes her for it, and she doesn't care. And I wanted to, I gave her a bit of like more conservative outfit for the everyday wear, because I thought at Hogwarts they probably wouldn't allow them to wear like something like massive cleavage. But I gave her like a crop top for the party wear and things like that, just because I think that if somebody were to break the Hogwarts dress code, it would be Ginny Weasley. Honestly. So I thought I would give her like the puffer jacket, but then I still wanted to, she's a Weasley, so she doesn't have that much money to spend on clothes. So I wanted to kind of like still give her clothing that's not, you know, too pretty, compared to like Hermione, whose parents are dentists, so they're like loaded. So she obviously wears expensive clothes, but Ginny, not really. She would probably wear a lot of clothes that are somehow hand-me-downs from the boys, maybe the jacket that she's wearing for her regular outfit is a hand-me-down from the boys. That outfit that it put her in automatically for winter wear was just so hideous. I don't know, it's just so many hats in The Sims sit very weirdly on the Sims heads, and it just looks bad. And then I moved on to creating Luna, who, out of all the characters, the movies probably got Luna the best. Like, the main difference, appearance-wise, is the hair, because in the books she's supposed to have dirty blonde hair, which we don't really have in The Sims, so I had to give her blonde hair, because we don't have dirty blonde. And I actually let you guys decide on what hair I'm gonna give her in a poll on Twitter, because I didn't say that I'm making Luna Lovegood, but I said that I'm making a Sim who's supposed to have dirty blonde hair, and what do? Should I make her blonde, or should I give her like the lightest brown? And you guys said blonde, so I gave her blonde hair. And she's supposed to have like a constantly surprised look on her face, so I think I handled that pretty okay-ish. I gave her like very high eyebrows and big eyes, and I think that like she is such a hippie compared to the characters. I really enjoyed creating her because she wore a lot of like mismatched jewelry and things like that, and a lot of colorful outfits that are maybe not necessarily like fully appropriate to the occasion. Like for her formal wear, I just gave her like this little sundress, which I think is a very Luna thing to do, just wear clothes that are not very appropriate for the occasion that she's in. And sometimes with these characters it was really hard to gauge like things like their sleepwear, like their active wear, because we only really see some of them in their like active wear in the books that it's described, or even in the movies. So I think I'm not gonna be the only one having trouble with these outfits. I think Claudia is gonna struggle as well. And swimsuits were all swimsuits swimsuits were also really hard to figure out. So I think that like those are the categories that I was struggling with the most. And obviously in the books the characters do wear robes much more than they do in the movies, but we obviously don't have robes in The Sims, so I just gave them clothing that they would maybe wear over the summer or things like that. Like for a lot of the formal outfits I went according to what they wore for the Yule Ball. Like I gave Hermione the blue dress, I gave Ron that hideous brownish robe that he says that it looks like something his aunt would wear. And now I'm moving on to creating the last character, which is Neville. And one thing that may actually surprise those of you who have not read the books is that Neville is supposed to be blonde. So I made him blonde, obviously, and I gave him like a bit of the front teeth and things like that. I wanted to make him, because here's the thing, in the movies they obviously couldn't like control how hot Matthew Lewis would turn out. But he starts out as this like awkward chubby kid and things like that, and he's perfect. But then as he grew up, he became like the hottest of the cast members, and like that was unexpected for Neville, wasn't it? So I understand why that happened, because they didn't have control over like how he would look as he grew up. But in the books he still stays kind of like round-faced, chubby, you know, more like he is when he's young. He doesn't like go turn around 180 degrees and becomes like the hottest of the cast. Yeah. So as I said, this is like around the 6th, 5th book, something like that. They're like in their 15, 16, something like that. So that is basically it. I'm just finishing up Neville, and there are some screenshots that I've got for you. I actually took these screenshots in a build that's up on my gallery. It's called the Castle Elixir, so if you want to download the build, it's up on the gallery as well as these characters. I didn't make them as spellcasters because in Create a Sim, spellcasters just keep doing the spellcaster animations and it's so annoying to watch. So if you want to play with them, you will have to make them spellcasters. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and definitely subscribe to Optimistic Wonder as well. I'll link her channel down below, and go watch her video on this because I have a feeling that it's going to be really good. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Stay tuned for a lot more builds, and I may throw in some cast videos like this one as well. Bye!